Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Sheets of Lead, the metal covers series. We're going to be doing a bunch of metal covers of various songs, classical music, theme songs, soundtracks, and we are starting today, as you just heard, with the Inspector Gadget theme. Now, the way that this works is that over on Spawn of Seed, that's my band page, that's where we'll be posting all of the music. I'll be posting the covers, the actual recorded covers, as well as original music there. And then over here on my personal page is going to be the music nerd kind of page where we're going to be doing the music lessons, the guitar lessons, talking about some theory, also doing some like gear shootouts and reviews and just kind of nerding out in general. You just saw a snippet of the start of the Inspector Gadget theme cover that we did over at Spawn of Seed. If you haven't seen the full thing, the link is in the description below. You can go check it out. It only goes for a minute. And if you already have, then let's start. So I've arranged this cover for 2 guitars and drums, obviously. And we're going to have a look at both of the parts today. And we're going to start right at the beginning with the intro. Now, this is on the first guitar. And the way that I opted to do this was to do it as a little tapping pattern. I found this was a little bit smoother than picking it. Now, what we're doing is we're playing an A. We're going to do some 2-finger tapping. And we're going to hit the high E note. Now, that's on the B string, so that's the 17th fret. We're going to pull off to the 14th. Then that's going to pull off to the 12th. And then 10. So we're going to get this. You could do that alternatively as a picked thing. As well. And now that's a little intro cover. That's the first part. And then the second guitar comes in with the main theme, the main riff from the piece. And now this works really cool because it's like an A minor thing, which I'm sure everyone out there who plays guitar is familiar with. So this is a bit of fun in this case. And all of that riffing is based around that pattern. So is our first one. Dropping underneath, and I'm doing a trill on the G sharp to the A. So we get 3 movements. First one, second one with the trill, and then the third one that moves up to the B note. And then we get this really cool descending pattern, and it starts on the octave tray. Which is a really cool pattern. And even though the original version isn't, metal or anything, it still goes hard. Let's have a look at that one more time. And then we're going to repeat both of those without the gap to start this next one. And then, now that's a little bit tricky with the pinky and the third finger doing all of the work there. You could voice down here if you like to, but I preferred to stay in position just so I didn't have to move back into the riff. I found that gave me a stronger start to the riff section that comes in afterwards. And then we're into really what is the main riff. Very Hall of the Mountain King-esque. Then we get this little quick sort of change, this little reprise where we move up. I'm doing this as an octave or as a power chord if you like, or just the octave, Wes Montgomery style. And then moving that up. So G sharp to A. And then we get this arpeggio. The arpeggio I'm doing is on a B flat major chord. Starting in the middle is what we're going for here. And then back into the riff. And then we get the build up. And then before we jump into the B section, we're going to look at the second guitar part for that last bit. Now, I've got the second guitar resting for a bunch of bars, but it's coming in on that B flat. A nice straight B flat major chord, root 6. I'm sure we're all familiar with that bar chord. We're doing that as the very first entry point for this. The guitar that did the intro part, this is its re-entry point into the piece. And then I've decided to write in a harmony part which starts on the E, and I'm following the exact same pattern as the original riff, but starting here. The only difference there is right at the ending on that trill note, the harmony stops from being like a direct fifth, and then it just replaces itself, so both of those trills match up to each other. We then repeat that harmony part and then drop down the octave for the climb. It's the exact same notes, so this is just an octave unison harmony for this last climb. And then that brings us to our B section. For the B section, I've split the guitars into an accompanying part and a melody part. One of the guitars is actually working as a bass substitute in this instance, and that is the guitar that we're going to start with. So continuing on from where we left off with that low climb, we're going to go... Then we're going to repeat that again. And then on the end here, we're going to sync up with the other guitar. We're doing those in unison. So let's have a look at the B part, but for the melody guitar. So sticking with the idea of octaves that we used earlier, we're going from an A to a G and back again. Is the movement. And then we get a single note run. Back to our octaves. Now the run starts the same and then it changes here towards the end. That part again. And then there's this little break where we have this little sweeped arpeggio run and then back into a descending pattern and brings back into the riff. And all this is just, it's an E major chord. So I'm going in this position, we're going up to the B, and then I'm using that to slide into that descending pattern. And then that brings us back into the final section of the piece. What I've done here is it's the same thing as in the main riff section. I've just split the guitars. So one of them is doing it in the initial octave, and then the guitar that did the arpeggio run is doing it up the octave here. And then for this final outro section, I'm just matching the guitars up. One's doing a high note octave and one's just doing the lower power chord. So it's just going from an F to an E, an A to a G sharp, a C to a B, and then an F to an E. And with the other guitar, I've just got that on the higher octave with a little bit of tapping. That kind of movement. And then we get this little chromatic run. Now this was actually a really good exercise, and you may have done some similar things like this as a warm-up or one of those kind of finger strengthening chromatic exercise things that I'm sure we've all done. Starting here on the C, and we're using, one finger per fret. Move it all down. So that's the first half of it. And then we're going to do the same thing starting on the B flat. This time we're not going to move down, because we're going to do that run, and then to finish. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you have some fun playing the Inspector Gadget theme. You can check out some of the other guitar lessons on this channel, or if you'd rather just listen to some music, you can head over to Spawn of Seed and check out the covers and our upcoming original music that is being released in the very near future. Happy playing, and I'll catch you in the next one.